All right. Today we're going to talk a little bit about integrity in your business and how that can help you in the long run. We'll start off with that and then we'll get into our typical mastermind meeting. All right. So, welcome to the Rams Agents Production Coaching Call. The goal of the call is to help you sell more homes by maximizing your repeat and referral closings by implementing the referral agent mastery system into your practice. My name is Mike Cerrone, co-founder of Rams Agents, and my co-host is Angela Newman, a master trainer of Rams Agents. Hello, Angela. How are you today?
Hello, good morning. I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Thank you for being here, everyone. I'm going to just jump into a quick topic. It'll only take maybe 5 minutes or so. I just wanted to mention this idea of integrity and doing the right thing for your clients. Um, I've, as you know, I've kind of slowly worked my way back into some real estate sales and mainly been talking to past clients and sphere of influence. And I went and did a little review to see kind of what's happened over the last couple months that I've gone back out to my PCSOI. My PCSOI has generated five people who are interested in doing something. One of them did something. They actually ended up selling a piece of property for a family member. They helped them out, and I was part of that. Um, the other four are kind of interesting. They actually had seven ends or seven parts. So three of them were going to do a sell and a buy, and one of them was just doing a sell and a reload, moving out of the area. And I looked back at it, and I tend to do, whether we like to admit it or not, I added up all the commission potential of those seven ends. And in my market, I've got a pretty high price now. And so I estimate that that's about $135,000 in commissions from those four people. By the way, treat all your people really well. So they can treat you really well too. I looked back at those and I met with all of them individually and some of them multiple times and some of them many, many phone calls. And when I talked to them and evaluated their particular situations, my belief was that their best answer for them was not a sell and a buy. It was not a sell and a buy. It was an option, but it wasn't their best option. And so I advised them not to move, to try to do something else first to solve their issue, their challenge. And with each of them, I took at least an hour, if not hours, and some of them, one of them I'm thinking, I think almost 40 hours to try to figure out really what is going on with their situation. Because sometimes they're not clear. They don't even have clarity on what they're doing initially. And you really have to dig in, ask a lot of questions, and I will not move forward with any of them until I know for sure what it is exactly they want to do. And that's different from when I was younger. When I was younger, I just, oh, you want to sell your house? Great, let's list it, let's get it sold. I didn't dig into what's really going on in their world and their situation. So these particular folks, I chatted with each of them and dug in and realized that, again, they had a solution that could be done without selling the property. One was fixing up the property they're currently in, just modifying it to meet their needs because they loved the neighborhood and there was really no reason to move. In my opinion, they were jumping the gun, and they're currently working on that. Another was a kind of a financial situation and looked into a refinance that was very unusual and I hadn't even known about parts of it in the past and the ways it could be utilized. And I was in the mortgage business, but I had done some research to see if I could find a solution for them. And it has all these incredibly odd challenges and roadblocks, and yet we're moving through those. So I just chatted with them last week, and we moved through a couple of hurdles that I thought would never happen. Some interesting subordination arrangements. Uh, in any event, that's moving forward, and I keep chatting with them to try to work on that. Another one family members had recommended that this person sell and buy. And in a long discussion with them, I recognized that they didn't really want to do that. They were looking for another alternative to retain the property and just didn't know how to do it. And I came up with some odd things that most people would never advise. I'll give you a quick example on this one because it's kind of interesting. It's a rental property. It was a primary residence. It turned into a rental property, and they rented it out to family. They don't like being a landlord. They're very risk adverse. They hate the risk. That became super clear. Just very risk adverse. They just don't like risk, including the risk of being a landlord, having a tenant damage a property is one of their biggest fears, and not collecting rent, having to evict, et cetera, et cetera. But they want to retain the property. So I came up with the idea, why don't you just keep it vacant? Right? Who would ever advise someone to keep a vacant property? But because of this person's particular personality, this was a perfect solution for this person. Very excited about the idea. Moving forward on it, gave a couple of ideas on what needed to be checked out to make that happen. So that would never be my personal solution for my property, but for this person, it was like a perfect solution. So again, my advice is you got to dig in and find out what the people really, really want to do before you hustle them or rush them into selling and buying. I could have easily, by the way, I know these people, I could have easily moved them into selling and buying. I'm pretty good at persuasion, and I wouldn't have had to persuade them at all. That's what they wanted to do initially, but it wasn't really going to meet their goal. They're all much happier at this point, as far as I can tell. I keep communicating with them, but I just want to show you that I think integrity is the key. I forfeited, if you will, $135,000 in commission because it just wasn't the right thing for them, right? And I believe in my heart that's going to come back to me in manyfold. It already has, because I already feel better about it, and I believe they feel better about it. So my lesson today is dig in, really dig in, stand in their shoes and try to figure out what is the best answer for them. Okay. By the way, one of them already referred me other business. The other one keeps contacting me and saying, okay, we want to hire you. Let's get this thing sold. And I'm like, wait a minute, did we exhaust all these options over here and found another way to work around the solution? Again, I'm not going to jump in and do the easy thing until I exhaust all the solutions that are possible for them to achieve their ultimate goal. Anyway, hope this has been helpful. I know it was a little bit cryptic because I don't want to give too many details about it because this is all going to be public. But anyway, that's my idea of the day, is make sure you have integrity, dig deep with your people, find out exactly what they want to do. Any questions on any of that?
Yeah, I would just have a comment that yes, as their real estate agent that they have come to for help, we have to act as their advisor, and that can include making sure that they've thought about all possible scenarios and making sure that what they're doing is best for them. So, and it goes back to even using the OCR method of making sure that they know, okay, if we don't sell now, this is what the future could look like. If we do sell now, this is what the future could look like. But what is going to be better for you?
Very well
What's
said.
the OCR? What the OCR method?
The options, consequences, and recommendations.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Could you walk us through that real quick, Angela? This is a good time for a review on that.
So Paul Wheeler was actually the person that originally developed that. We put together an infographic, and it's a great tool when anybody is wanting to make a decision on something. It can be real estate related. You can use it in your personal life, but instead of just saying, hey, I think you should sell your house right now. I think that's a great idea. Let's move forward. Um, to help them make the best decision, you want to make sure they understand all of their options, let them know all of the consequences of those options, but then also give them a recommendation based off of what you've told me. This is what I recommend. And then you always end it with, but what is best for you? Because only they can make that decision in the end.
That's wonderful. I was even thinking while you were saying that when you mentioned it's great for any decision making, even pricing a property. I'm going through that discussion right now with a client, and I'm going to use the OCR method to discuss these different pricing options. That's great.
Yeah, it's a fantastic framework for helping someone work through a decision or a challenge. Um, I have been using the concept. I just hadn't put it in the framework and labeled it as well as Paul had. I've been doing it. So when Paul told me, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing. I just never used this acronym. It's such a great acronym to remember it, OCR. Um,
Yeah, and when we would forget to ask, but what is best for you at the end, we would get kind of more pushback and it didn't. So it's almost like the perfect formula when you put it back to them and ask them basically what would you like to do?
Yeah, that's great advice. If you forget all of it, just keep asking them, what would you like to do? What information do you need to make a great decision? Uh, is there anything that I haven't mentioned that you would like to know about? Right. Um, cool. Good job. All right, let's do this. Let's switch gears. Let's go into some good news. Let's talk about some good news. If you've got some good news you'd like to share, now is your opportunity. Who has some good real estate news you'd like to share?
I'm ready to hear about Angela's weekend. I'm just
Yeah,
waiting.
that sounds like a good one. Angela, how did it go on the weekend?
So it turned out just fine. It was good. Unfortunately, we had the weather was supposed to cooperate, but you know how weather is, it did not. And so we had some rain and very cool temperatures, which I wasn't complaining about that, but so a lot of the people that I think were planning to come out chose not to, which is understandable. It was a lot of lightning in the distance, and I know that the main city, Tulsa, was getting even more rain than we were. The storm was over them. So, but the good news is that we did have people come out, and we talked. Some people were asking about building houses and selling houses, and I got to meet a vendor that I hadn't met before. He's an insurance agent. The local lender that I work with here, who's also licensed in Oklahoma, he came out. We all had just a great time. We also had a newer agent in our organization, Brian, that I got to meet. And so it was just really a great way. We met a lot of the people that already had scheduled birthday parties at the park. They were there too with us. So we just said, feel free to use the shelter. We're having a party, and we made it a big party. Um, yeah, and I had people that didn't comment, didn't even know that they saw about the event, call me, reach out to me and ask, how did the event go? Did you make it through the rain? And so it was, again, it was definitely, even though it rained and everything, we had a good time.
That's fantastic. So let's walk through some of the numbers. Well, first of all, before we do that, um, What is the power of an event?
The invitation.
And did you invite a lot of people, everybody in your PCSOI?
I did, yes.
So did that make it a win before the event ever started?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So come rain or shine, you'd already won.
Yep.
That's fantastic. So keep that in mind, everyone, when you're putting on events. Sometimes the event itself, weird things and strange things can happen, things out of your control. But if you invited everybody to the event, you'd already won. That was the purpose of the event, number one purpose. So good job, Angela. So tell us the event, how many people did you invite with all the rain and everything else, the weather that wasn't participating? This was an outside barbecue in the park. So with the fact that it was raining, how many people did you invite? How many people actually showed up?
Hmm. We probably, between Patty and myself, in the end, I would calculate that we invited about 400 people. And how many showed up? About probably 25 people. And then we also invited people from in the park that were already there. But uh, I had one RSVP from a woman that I didn't know. She texted me and, said, like a week before the event that she was going to come. She showed up. And so, I mean, people showed up that I didn't really expect, and then people showed up that I did expect. So it turned out good.
That's great. So you had 5% of the people that you invited actually showed up, and it's always going to be a percentage of the people you invite showed up. I'm impressed that you invited 400 people. So by doing this event, you reached out and touched 400 people that could do something to move your business forward. I think that's pretty darn impressive. Um, I I also hope, and you can tell us the answer, but I hope that you documented the event, as in you memorialized it, you videotaped it, took pictures, shared it on social media, just as you had planned, with rain and the whole 9 yards, because people are going to love that. They're going to understand because they've done things like that, right? They've tried to do a birthday party in the park, and here comes the rain. They're going to completely empathize with you.
We did. We did two Facebook Lives during the event. One when we first started to just let people know that we were still going to have it and that we were cooking the hot dogs and everything. And then we did a second one, just thanking everybody that came out. And then we did the giveaways live. So,
Cool, cool. And that also shows integrity, by the way. Again, there's a lot of things that are excellent about this. You told these 400 people you were going to do this event. You did the event, even in the rain, even with the challenges, which shows that you are strong and you're going to push through for them when you get into a transaction with them. And no matter what kind of hurdles you run into, you're going to run over them. You're going to run through them. You're going to make sure that things are going to work out.
that's very true. Yeah. I will, if I say I'm going to do something, I will definitely make sure it gets done.
Definitely. Well, you are that kind of person. Absolutely. So
Mhm.
let's open it up to the group. Anybody have any questions about Angela's event that she hosted this weekend?
I did see your video of your drawing, prize drawing. So I was very glad to see that. And I could tell it looked like it had been raining or something like that, or maybe it was raining at that moment. I don't know. But so I knew that that probably dampened the atmosphere a little bit. But like Mike said, the fact that you continued on, you let your people know we're still on and we're still doing it, and there you are, you're delivering. That was terrific. So even people, well, what about those folks that are stuck home in the rain? And they look and they see you on Facebook and they go, well, Angela is still out there having fun. They're still cooking hot dogs. She's still giving away stuff. And you could see the shelter was plenty big. So even if it had come a big rain while you were there, it wasn't, going to be a complete problem, I guess, for folks that came. I thought it was terrific. From my impression.
Thank you, Blake. And that's so true. The people that did come, they had a good time. I mean, it was a great time to visit people and visit with people. And we had it's a really nice big shelter, little pavilion thing that we were under. So it was dry. We weren't getting wet or anything like that. We couldn't go out and play some of the games that we had intended to, but the kids were still playing in the splash pad because they were already wet. So, and the lightning wasn't right over us, it was further back. So, if there was lightning, of course, we wouldn't have done all that. But yeah, and for the drawing, actually, it had cleared up. So it was just kind of misty and cool. And then about an hour later, it cleared up completely. But that's how it goes. So
I thought you would turn it into a science experiment for the kids, with the lightning, maybe give them a kite and a key and, just experiment with electricity.
right.
No, not advised.
I'm impressed you got 25 out of 400 to come and it even rained and you got that many. That's like a huge number. I don't know how that they were your SOI or not, but you invite 400 and you get 25 to come. And it's raining. That's impressive.
Yes, and most of them that came, I did already know. But like I had mentioned, I think maybe before you got on, but there was a family that did come that I didn't know that had RSVP'd, and they still made it out. So that was really awesome. I got to meet her. Her name was Elizabeth, and and also the vendors, the lender partner, the insurance agent that came out. The insurance agent, he actually cooked the hot dogs. It was just really great to talk to them and get to know them. And, I think we have a good relationship now. And they even made a joke because I made a banner. They're like, okay, well, we just have to do this again next year and we can use the same banner because it had all of their logos and information on it. And I was like, yes, definitely, we can do that.
Update it to second annual.
Yep, we can do that.
It'll get beyond. Yeah, that's awesome. That's hats off.
Good job, Angela. Be sure to do the recap, right? The recap where you're sending it out on social media, reaching out to everyone. You could use it as a reason to even call everybody and say, hey, just want to let you know we had a great event. Really appreciate that you were there or you couldn't make it. Remember, the whole reason to do these is the
invitation.
Yeah, exactly. It's the touch. It's the touch. It's just the invitation. It's the touch. That's all. And so not just the invitation, but you can do the conclusion at the end, just another touch. So you can really leverage the event.
And that's really, we say invitation, but you're right. It's just a great reason to reach out to people. And, some of the people may never buy a house, but I know that they support me and they support, what we were doing. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we have referrals in the future from them, so and I will. So we have a lot of pictures that I haven't even seen yet. So I'll put those together and do a reel with all the photos and post some stuff, maybe make an album on Facebook with all the photos in it and everything. And then also email everything out and just let people know how it went, the people that I have on my email list. So we'll do that. And then also the package of how to host a event in the park.
Exactly. And in fact, and you can even add to that list, here's what to do if the weather doesn't work with you and isn't amenable. Here's how you can make it a switch, or this is why you might want to get a pavilion, right? These kind of situations. All right, good job, good job. It'll be one of the stories in your storybook, so it's good. All right,
I've got one more thought here that just came up, Angela. you were talking about the photos and stuff. I've gone to some broker open houses that at the end, like the next day or 2 days later, I get an email asking me to send photos that I took, which I didn't happen to take any, but had I taken photos, they're asking me to send them the photos. They're going to put something together, obviously, and use it for their own purposes. That may be an idea too, is to just, it's a reason to reach out and, hey, if you took pictures, send them my way. Um,
Mhm.
and it gives you a reason to contact them too, especially the people that came.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I will definitely incorporate something like that into my reach outs. Awesome.
Are you doing YouTube by chance? Look at
I
You can
know.
SEO that really well. Like that question, what happens when it really rains on your parade? And, just kind of sort those keywords because people, attract to kind of a negative shock value on a
Mhm.
subject. And if you get uh your opening shot, right? Your yeah. Am I muted? Oh, anyhow. Yeah, you can really kill that on YouTube. Just kind of do some keyword searches and ask a reverse question. And
Mhm.
I've tested out. I'm just like, whoa, I can't believe how one goes over another. And yeah, it's crazy. So you
Mhm.
can really
No,
do
that's
good
a
on
great
YouTube.
idea. I didn't even think about putting on YouTube because I have a Texas YouTube, but I don't have an Oklahoma. And anyways, I've been thinking about modifying it to include both Texas and Oklahoma and just making it real estate. But um, yeah,
Yeah.
I think great. That's a great idea.
I think YouTube is the second number one search engines for subject matter content. Like,
Mhm.
how do I set up a parade, right?
Mhm.
And they search YouTube as a second over Google. I mean, under Google. People love, yeah. So
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, I have another YouTube channel for real estate agents, I guess, with stuff on it. So that would be a great place to put that video. Great, thank you.
Good job. Good job. All right. Anyone else got some good news that they would like to share? Got any good news from the week in your real estate world?
I wanted to just, I saw a video that Blake created for his land, and it is amazing. So I don't know if he can share it right now, but or put a link in the chat so everybody can take a look at it later. But that was very, very well done, Blake.
Well, thank you very much, Angela. I appreciate that. I got it posted yesterday. Been working on it for a little while and finally got it posted yesterday. There were several shoot days involved because we've had so much rain. And so I was using a lot of drone footage as well as just footage that I was shooting. But anyway, thank you. I got that put together and got it out there. And uh, what always makes me happy is if I'm telling like the story of a property is when the client tells me that I've really captured the spirit of their property. This one has so much character to it, as you saw, that the client said that I really captured the description very well. So I appreciated that. I'll see if I can. It's on
Where's the video?
Facebook. What's that?
Where is the video? Did you post it on YouTube?
No, it's on Facebook and Instagram right now. Because this is a vertical video. I shot all the same scenes horizontally and am reproducing it to put on YouTube. So I will have it on YouTube, but I needed to get that out and it's kind of that was urgent to get it on social media. But now all those vertical shots, um, I've got the same shots horizontal, and I'm going to reproduce it for. I just it'd be a lot easier because I've already got it scripted and everything. So I'll just re-edit and put it on YouTube. So I will do that. I'll see if I can come up with a link though, and in a few minutes here and put it on the
I
chat.
was just going to pull it up and show everybody, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I mean, you've been talking about this land, but until like you see it, it's actually a vineyard and has so many like potential opportunities, like you pointed out. It made me want to go and buy it. It's awesome.
That's funny. Yeah, that's true. It's so much more than land. It is. It's very interesting property. Um, and that's what I needed to get across because uh, it's not priced like it's just a bunch of land sitting there. It's priced as something special. Um, I found it here. I don't know if I can get a. Anyway, I'll work on it and I'll see if I can get a link.
Okay, cool. Yep. Or if you want to just play it on the screen, it's up to you, Blake, if you want to do that through share. Have you done that before?
Yeah, we could do that. I don't know if my bandwidth will hold that,
Okay.
but we can try it real quick, and you can wave me off if it's not working.
Sure. When you do the share, just real quick, when you click the share button, let's see, oh, they changed stuff. Let's see, optimize, let's see, share sound and optimize for video sharing. Just make sure you click those buttons before you click the screen that allows you to share. Does that make sense? So if you pop
Yes.
share up and you pop it open, and you
Yeah.
see options on which screen you want to pick, before you pick that, look, for me, it was over on the right. It used to be down at the bottom.
I see it.
And you
Share
want to click
options.
optimize for video and sound. Otherwise, we won't be able to hear it.
Oh, okay. Optimize for video. Oh, share sound. I see. Okay. Optimize for video. If you want others to hear sounds coming from your computer. Yeah. Yeah, it's not
Doesn't want to flop.
anyway, it may be too much for us to try to pull that off. Yeah, it's because it's not letting me check the optimize for best video sharing.
That's all right. We'll
So
catch it another
yeah,
time. Blake, thank you for
yeah,
sharing it and going down the path and trying to get it up.
sure.
Um, we'll check that out another time. Or if you can send me the link, maybe I can try to run it for you. All right, cool. Well, good job, Blake. Have you had any response on the video?
Yeah, now the video just went up yesterday, and I haven't had any buyer response yet, but I've had a lot of comments and a lot of interaction from it. Um,
Perfect.
a lot of people talking about it. I was out to dinner last night and had a lot of comments from that. I am going to be able to put this in the chat, the link anyway, to my page, Facebook page.
When you, let me see if I can pull that. Pops up for me. Oh, let's see, I'm not usually in there, so hold on.
I can give some good news while you're working on that
Yeah,
too.
please do.
I've got some good news in that yesterday I had a listing appointment, a listing presentation with a who is now someone that's now going to be my client that was not a straight referral. This was a free lead from my brokerage that came through realty.com. And that was pretty cool because it wasn't a cold lead. I mean, the lead actually said, I'm looking for somebody to help me sell my house. But anyway, it's a person from out of town, didn't know anybody in town, hadn't been in this city for 20 years. They bought this house 20 years ago, had been renting it for 20 years, and they said this is the first time we've been back since we bought this place. So anyway, they were interviewing several agents yesterday, and late in the day they called me back and said, Blake, we want you to help us sell this house. So we're going to go do our paper signing today.
Congratulations, Blake. That's
Yeah,
fantastic
it
news.
is. I was excited.
Good go, Blake.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Hey, Blake, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
On your video, I kind of went through it and I kind of, that's great intro. Awesome. And it's just, it really, I didn't get to see the whole thing, But at the end, if I make a suggestion,
Yeah.
don't put the price in there. Tell them to call you for the price because the price could change, and then you've got
Yeah.
to re-edit your video. And you also get them, a call to action. So you can do it at the beginning, at the end, because not everybody's going to watch it all the way through. Do your call to action at the beginning, to call at the end, but don't give them a price. Tell them to call you for the price,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
or DM or whatever.
Right. Yeah, just
Yeah.
contact me for the price, or whatever. Contact me for more info. I get it. Yeah, and a call to action at the front end would be a good idea too. Because of course people aren't gonna. I'm amazed at the number of people who've watched the whole thing. That's because it's 3 minutes, 11 seconds. But
At least you can see on YouTube what if you like Tube Buddy or somebody like that,
right,
you can see
right.
the content, right? But if you do it right before you walk away, hey, let's take a look. Just to remind you, call me for the price. Call me for an update.
Yeah,
Prices changed or whatever. Just call me for the price, and then you
sure.
get it at the end too.
Well,
Yeah.
and I am re-editing this for YouTube, and I have my what are called the opens and closes. The close, I've got it without price and with price. So
Good.
for that very reason, knowing it would change, and so for
Good.
YouTube, I definitely will do that. This one, because it was kind of a first introduction on social, I went ahead and did the price, but maybe, I mean, from your suggestion, maybe it would have been wise just to not do it at all, because I could potentially have gotten somebody that was interested in land.
Bingo.
Exactly,
What's
regardless of
your
whether they could buy this or not.
Yeah,
And
what are your goals, right?
yeah,
You trying to generate leads or exposure?
yeah, that's exactly right.
Mhm.
So I would have been better off not to give the price. I appreciate that.
I'm going to try to play the video. I found it. And
Okay.
you let me know at the beginning, thumbs up or thumbs down if you can hear it. Okay, so let's try it.
I have something extraordinary to show you. I'm standing on 70 acres of beautiful farmland, just 12 minutes from I-75 in Ringgold, Georgia. This family farm has just been listed for sale, and this is your opportunity to step into a new adventure where vineyards, open fields, and wildlife greet you every morning. This is the Vineyard Farm. Let's take a tour. As you enter the farm, you'll discover a landscape filled with mature grape vineyard rows. If you've ever dreamed of boutique winemaking, this is your opportunity. The land also has muscadine vines and acres of blueberry bushes. Beyond the blueberries and vineyard, you'll find dozens of acres of open hayfields. With the Vineyard Farm, you're not just buying land, you're investing in a lifestyle rich with beauty, opportunity, and adventure. A large pole barn sits on the property at the top of the hill. You'll find multiple building sites with plenty of privacy. Electricity and public water are readily available. The versatility of the terrain is remarkable, with rolling hills, level grounds, open fields, and wooded habitat. The farm has about 40 acres of buildable land and about 30 acres of floodplain. It has 1,490 feet of road frontage and about 3,300 feet of creek frontage. As you can see, the farm has hayfield after hayfield. And as the fields roll further and further back on the property, you find more and more serene and private settings. It's like owning your own private state park. The farm is so much more than fields, as you'll find an amazing haven for wildlife. The center line of the creek is the property line, and deer tracks are everywhere. Several acres are wetlands with beaver, duck, turtles, and deer. Imagine walking through the leaves on a crisp fall morning. You can do that right here. And of course, you never know what you'll see. The Vineyard Farm is just 12 minutes from the I-75 Ringgold, Georgia exit, 30 minutes from Chattanooga, Tennessee, or 30 minutes from Dalton, Georgia. It's ideal for an aspiring vineyard or winery owner, outdoor lovers wanting land rich with wildlife, entrepreneurs seeking a farm-to-table or agritourism venture, or an owner dreaming of a private estate near city amenities with a business upside. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. The Vineyard Farm is available now for $1.2 million. Schedule your personal tour now. Contact me, Blake Watson, with Epic Realty. My phone number is 423-315-1815.
Wow. Wow. Nice
Good
job.
job.
Wow, Blake, that was fantastic. Fantastic. Nice work on this video. Very well done. Very well narrated. You did a great job of sharing all the opportunities that are in the property. I don't know if I heard about water rights. That's the only thing I thought of when I saw all that water. I didn't know, is water rights a big deal there? And whether you have access to that water, if you can use it and so forth?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's not a big deal here. We have a lot of water in Northwest Georgia and Chattanooga, Tennessee. We've got a huge river. The Tennessee River comes through Chattanooga. So water is pretty plentiful. But I did mention on the video, the property line is the center of the creek. It's the center line of the creek. So anybody local or in this area would certainly understand that that means they can access the creek and they can utilize the creek. But now whether they can draw, they can't draw water out of it. They wouldn't draw water out of it. You can dig wells around here and it's easy enough if you want that water. But I mentioned that there's, I don't know if I called it city water, but it's public water. You know, we call it city water in the country. But but there is public water. In fact, there's 2 meters on the property. There's 2 water meters already in place and working to water that vineyard. He was using that for watering the vineyard.
Just extraordinary. What a great job. Fantastic video. Well executed. Thank you for sharing. You put a lot of time and effort into it, and it looks very professional. Does anybody have any questions for Blake about his video?
I would just say that that was a great recommendation to leave the price off. Because if somebody is looking to buy land, you're more likely to get them to call and just ask what the price is and more information. When they already know the price, that might be out of their budget and you may not get that lead to reach out to you, but it is a really, really good video. So yeah, would love to see sometime, how you put that all together.
Thank you. You know, it's interesting, even, and I learned something on this. I wanted to use a music track from Facebook specifically, because they just have a lot more options available that are licensed for use on Facebook. Well, they have a 90-second limit on their, I think it's on their reel or something. There was some situation I learned just yesterday. There's a 90-second limit on that licensed music. So there's 2 versions of that video that are running on Facebook and a whole nother one on Instagram with a different soundtrack. But the one we just watched has 90 seconds of music and then the music's gone. It's just me talking. And that one didn't get, I don't remember if that was my story or what that was, but one of the versions has music that soundtrack loops through and the music comes back on and leads it all the way through. And that's the one that I think most people are seeing, because I've asked several people, did the music play all the way through? So I think most people are seeing the version that has the music all the way through. Just a little info on Facebook Music.
Good job, Blake. Good job. What a great share. Thank you so much. All right, let's do this. We're eating up our time again. It's always so much fun. Does anybody have any questions about anything that you would like an immediate answer for before we move on and wrap this up and move into the huddle? Any questions on your own personal production or issues or challenges you bumped into you'd like the group to answer or help you look for a solution? All right. Well, then I'm going to wrap up the production call. Again, thank you everybody for being here. It was good having you here. Let's go into our huddle real quick. Number one thing you did yesterday, excuse me, last business day to move your business forward. The number one thing you're going to do today to move your business forward. Who would like to start?
I'll go ahead and knock it out if that's okay. Yesterday, probably the number one thing, well, without a doubt, was my listing appointment and preparing for that. I went with a lot of good documentation and a lot of good information and really was able to demonstrate, even though we didn't go through all that. In fact, I had this thick, I think it's called a valuation report. I was trying to use what Thomas had kind of suggested. I didn't use the word appraisal because NAR, makes it extremely clear I'm not an appraiser. So I even used those words with the client that I'm not an appraiser. But but I used RPR has a report available to us that's called a valuation report, and it's just like it's laid out just like an appraisal where you have the subject property and the other properties, the comparable properties, and and you can adjust for every little item on the comparable property. So I did that. It's just a regular comparable piece, but gave them a big thick thing. Said we don't have to go through all this. I showed them how to read it and said, here's what we come up with. So anyway, and they've called me back and said, let's do it. So today my most important thing is going and getting that listing signed and all the details of when we're going to start marketing and how that's all going to work.
Blake, congratulations. That's fantastic. Great. Good job getting a listing. I think is this your first piece of business, or at least your first listing from a stranger, from someone that wasn't in your PCSOI?
That's right. This is the first piece of business that I will have that had no relation to my PCSOI, no referral. I've gotten plenty of referrals from my PCSOI, but this one is just out there. It's an internet lead, actually.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it's my first.
Yeah, the source, in the end, the source doesn't matter. It's just the people. You connected with the people. But you must have been on your game. Your skills are improving to the point that you can talk to someone that doesn't know you from the past, and they were comfortable enough to hire you. So you did a really great job. Real fast, you prepared a huge amount of research, right? The CMA, the data, whatever you want to call it, the valuation information, the estimate of value. And you're correct. You can't call it an appraisal. We're not appraisers. But you've created all this data, had a big stack. I think you said something like this, giant stack of information. It was this big. The fish was huge. It was a big stack. And the different personality types on the disc profile will look at that differently. For instance, the C's will love it. When you're gone, they'll be digging into it, right? They'll look at every little piece in there for all the details. They may even ask you that at the presentation. You have to be prepared for them to dig in, and that's fine. That's absolutely what they do. The other end of the spectrum is a D, and they won't look at anything other than the final number, but they appreciate that the thing is this big, right? They're going to say to other people, oh yeah, I went with Blake. He had all the information. He did all the research. They're going to bullet point, that's it. He did it. They love to see that the research was done, whether they read it or not. So you have the two people on the extremes of the disc. So the fact that you had the work done, you were in great shape.
I appreciate that. You're right. It pays off either way, regardless of their personality type. And I was adjusting, as I always do, I'm learning as I'm going in the middle of the presentation, as to how much of this I'm going to show, how much of it am I going to discuss, or am I just going to hand them a big stack and say, this is something you can read later, but this is where the bottom line is. And one trigger that helped me understand just how to manage that was when I was in there, I saw they had a notepad out and a whole list of comparables that they had found. They had been doing their own research and they had a whole list and all these details about the properties. I thought I need to show them what I've done so they know we're on the same page.
That's awesome. In your presentation, make sure you have a summary page. I assume you do. There's some page that just summarizes, it's just a quick summary. That's where I would tend to spend most of my time in the presentation. When we got to pricing, I would just walk through that one-page summary page. And then depending on their personality profile, we'd go deeper or not. And as you said, you can kind of feel if they're getting antsy and they just want to move through it, you know, that they're head towards the D personality, or they really want to dig in and they're asking every question about the square footage and the colors and what kind of appliances were in there. And, and then they're the C profile. And then you just whip through all your details and start saying, yeah, let's look into it. So I mentioned the idea that the D's will bullet point it and go, yeah, that's great, and then move on. And a lot of agents, myself included, I'm like, oh, why did I do all that work then? why did I spend hours and hours preparing that? And the answer is because they just accepted it quickly. The D accepted it quickly that you did do all that, and they just wanted to bullet point it, but they appreciated that you did. In fact, it's probably the reason you got selected. So it's okay. Don't worry about the fact that they moved past it quickly. Not a problem. You did everything you needed to. And you're going to feel confident when you go out there as far as placing this property in the market in the right position. So good job, Blake.
Way to go, Blake.
All right. We had a lot of folks that had to run, but we've got Blake and Tristan with us still. Tristan, would you like to share? We're in our huddle. Number one thing you did prior to business day to move things forward. Number one thing you're going to do today.
Number one thing yesterday was finishing my first draft for my newsletter. This month I'm doing like a half year report on how the things are going kind of this year up to this point, instead of just looking at the past month. So that was pretty fun and interesting. And then today my number one thing is prospecting. So I'm here now, just gonna continue on this street and door knock this morning, and then I have a lot to do, but yeah, that's the number one thing, prospecting for sure. Yesterday I didn't have any conversations and get out, but today I'm starting the day off on the most important thing.
Good job, Tristan. Love it. Good work. And yeah, that newsletter is great because you've been telling us about how you've been taking these leads from your door knocking, put them in your database. Now you're doing the follow-up to the database. And one of those follow-up pieces is that newsletter. So good job getting that ironed out and ready to go.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, that's fantastic. For me, yesterday I sent out, I noticed that someone is doing a lot of work on a property in my neighborhood, and it's very suspicious to me. They're probably getting ready to sell. And so I made sure I did a reach out through some mail to those folks. I don't see a lot of activity in the home right now, so I just mailed a piece, but I got that done yesterday. And then today we're going to do some follow-up phone calls out to some more prospects. Actually, it's not follow-up. We're going to do some new calls out to some prospects. That's my objective. So Tristan, good job. Blake, good job. Hope you guys have a productive and wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, Mike. You too. Bye, Blake. Bye, Mike.
All right. Take care. Bye for now.